Dr. E here. We're on our way to the food bank of Corpus Christi to do a quick tour so you can learn about the agency we're doing our volunteer project on. And we're walking through the beautiful garden of the campus. We're here in the Camborghini, which is what I call my 1997 Toyota Camry, driving up to the food bank. As you can see, there are two structures. There is the big warehouse operation, which is where they take in all the food. And then there are the administrative offices. And we're going to go to the administrative offices right now. We'll talk more about how food bank services work, but they run a pantry here in addition to the other food bank work. That's actual food distribution to clients. Also volunteers taking food in. And just so you know, two of these three grants, the Meadows Grant and the Kennedy Grants, were TAM-UCC written. Here at the food bank of Corpus Christi with a good friend, Bea Hansen. I'm going to just try to get her framed a little bit. I'll probably just hold this a little bit. And say hi, Bea.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing? We're doing this a little bit differently. We usually go to the food bank and do a tour and have students come, but because the class is online, we've tried to figure out ways to let you see the work the food bank does. Could you just talk very briefly about what a food bank is?
Sure. Food bank mainly rescues food that otherwise would go to waste, and then we distribute it to families that are food insecure and at risk of hunger.
Okay, and how do you get that food?
Well, we are members of Feeding America, which is a national organization out of Chicago, and they procure food for all 200 food banks in the nation from the big manufacturers, which is a great help for us. Locally, what we do is we have HEB, and actually we are envied by other food banks out of Texas because they are very, very generous. And for years, we have received a couple of truckloads of salvage food. You know, when a can is dented and they can't sell it, people put it back. So they rescue all this and then they send it to the food banks. And then we also receive donations from Walmart, HEB, and even the Naval Base, Sprouts. I mean, all the grocery stores in the area. And they give us the perishables. You know, everything has a sell-by date and then a use-by date. Well, they cannot sell it after the sell-by date expires, but the use-by date is still good.
And so the food's still good for about a week after that sell-by date?
Yes, depending, you know, milk is a little less.
Sure.
Than if it's frozen, it's probably a lot longer.
Yeah.
And what they used to do, unfortunately, was have to throw away this food. Or they will have like compost piles, and they will just turn it into compost, which was better than doing it just as trash. But now that we are able to rescue this food, it has been an amazing benefit to food banks so that we can reach families and give them a variety of food where they can make meals, where they can get meat and milk and eggs and, you know, all the proteins that we need to survive.
Okay. We're going to look at, I'm going to turn it here, we're going to look at the operations in a minute, but basically, so the food comes in from these various sources.
Yes.
It's inspected to make sure it's still good. Then if it's perishables, it goes into a freezer or cooler.
Yes.
If it's non-perishables, things like cans, things like that, boxes, they get boxed up. And then people come here and get food, or how do they get the food that you've claimed?
That's a great question. We do not deal directly with the individual families because we pack everything in bulk. And families need a variety of food. So we have member agencies through churches or other nonprofit organizations, and they distribute directly to families. We call them agencies or pantries. And we have 130 pantries in 11 counties. In addition to that, we have a couple of pantries on wheels. Those are trucks that just drive into the rural communities where there is not a grocery store or may not be a church or a pantry available, and then we just bring them the food.
Okay, that's great. I'm just trying to think of other things that the students might need to know for this project. There is something called the maintenance fee,
Yes.
although I'm not sure that would apply with there, but basically you're not selling food, but it costs money to inspect, pick it up, distribute it, things like that. Freezers, things like that. And so you charge...
We charge 14 cents per pound.
14 cents per pound.
But to put this into perspective, we package everything on banana boxes because they're sturdy. So we can put about 10 to 12 boxes of cereal into a banana box. It weighs about 10 pounds. So the agency will pay us $1.40 for 12 boxes of cereal. If they were to buy it at the store, they couldn't buy one box of cereal for $1.40.
Right.
So in that manner, they help us with the cost of operations because it's very difficult to raise money for operations.
Sure. How many pounds of food did you take in last year?
We distributed 8.3 million pounds.
Million pounds.
Millions.
Wow.
And one thing that I say is not so much the miracle that we distributed that much food, but the fact that we received that much food. We couldn't do it if the food wasn't available. A lot of what we receive is fresh fruits and vegetables. And we don't pay for it, but we have to pay for the freight. And unfortunately, we live in an area that doesn't grow a lot of vegetables, so we have to go to the valley and get oranges and grapefruits and fresh fruits and vegetables from them. And the cost to our food bank is the freight. We have to pay for the freight.
And how many people did you all serve last year?
We serve 179,000 people a year. No, I'm sorry, 7,900. I have it all wrong. Let me go back. We distribute 7,900 people a week. So that times 12 months.
Okay, so over 100,000 people. And bear in mind, the total population of the coastal bend is only about 500,000, so that's a big chunk.
Well, we have 13 counties.
13 counties as well, yeah.
11 counties.
Sorry, 11 counties. 11. Tell me about backpacks and the backpack program.
We have created programs in response to the needs in the community, and we found out that there is a number of children that depend on free breakfast and free lunch at schools. And these children, when they go home on Friday, many times they don't have a full meal at home. The teachers notice that these children come in and they eat all their breakfast and they even hoard some of the food from other kids that don't want to eat. So the teachers identify the children that are food insecure during the weekends, and we prepared what we call a backpack. And originally it was something that it will fit into their backpack and the teacher will just slip it in there and the children could take it home and have something of substance during the weekend. Child-friendly food. But we're developing this program to where now we are sending a lot more than just enough for one child. But we're sending some canned goods and some other food for the whole family. If the child is hungry during the weekend, most likely the whole family hasn't eaten well. So we're trying to feed the whole family for the weekend.
And you say the cost per backpack is about $3?
It was $4.65, and now that we are doing this, it's $3 because we're doing it in-house.
Okay, and about how many meals does that serve?
Oh, about 6.
So 6 meals for $3.
Yes.
And in terms of what our students are asking for, what's the total dollar amount? I mean, and are you trying to, first of all, how much money are we asking for?
Well, I will say $25,000.
$25,000.
Yes,
okay.
and what's happening is we have many schools. We're distributing 1,000 backpacks per week. So it is a very costly program. And we have schools waiting to be accepted into the program. And we cannot include other schools into the program until we have the funding to prepare the bags. And that's what this funding will do, is help us open new programs in schools that have the problem, but they haven't had the opportunity to distribute the backpacks.
Great. So we've been talking in class this week a little bit about needs. We're going to be talking about needs statement, but notice the language she uses: food insecurity, poverty, hunger, things like that. There's a lot of ways you can get documentation to talk about that being a real issue in the coastal bend. We're also going to be moving into things like goals and objectives and evaluation. And not trying to put you on the spot with math, but
Getting ready to do it.
but if we are able to raise the $25,000, what impact is that going to have? I mean, how would you measure success? Would you measure it by the number of additional schools you're going to reach, number of additional clients you're going to reach, number of additional meals you're going to distribute? What impact would that $25,000?
It's the number of children that we will.
The number of children
Yes.
that we're going to be serving.
Because depending on how many children are food insecure in certain schools, we may be able to help a couple of schools, 3 schools. If there is a school that is in a very impoverished area, then we may be able to just do that school. So that will be depending on that. But I can give you that information because I don't have it right now. But Kathy, who is in charge of the program, she knows exactly what schools are waiting and about how many children each school will serve.
Okay, thank you. Would you mind showing us around the
I would
operation
love
a little
to,
bit?
yes.
Okay, great. We're in the main operations building, and we've just left the offices, which is where B's office is. And talking about pantries now, the food bank doesn't distribute food directly. They work with client agencies, but they do provide the space for a pantry to be done on site. And who does this pantry?
This pantry is done by 2 different churches. On Tuesday is the Church of Christ, Arlington Heights, and on Fridays is First United Methodist Church volunteers.
Great. And as you can see, I don't know if we should go in or not, but it's set up very nicely. It's set up almost like a store, and a client can come in and they can look at the food that they want, and they can make selections. As you can see, they've got this is a pantry day, so the shelves are a little bit
Yes.
a little bit empty.
It opens at 1 and it closes at 3, so they only have 20 more minutes. And the bulk of the people have been through.
Yeah, but you can see there's canned foods, there's drinks on the back, there's nice grains and rice and noodles. That freezer has frozen food and usually meats and things like that.
Yes.
And there are lots of nice frozen products as well.
And let me point out the dog food and cat food right here on this card. See, look at this pack, free pet food, and then they spay and neuter their animals. A lot of them just can't afford it. So what we have done is we give them a bag of food for their pet, and then a card. And if they take the pet and have it neutered, they bring that card back signed, and from then on, their pet gets food every time they get food.
Well, how wonderful. Great.
So we have spayed and hopefully control the strays in the streets a little bit better.
Great. Now, I'll mention just as we walk by, I'll just open the door, but this is a nutrition education where they teach people how to cook healthy, safe foods that are diabetes friendly. And this sponsored by EEP Texas, but this was outfitted by a grant written by TAMU-CC students.
Yes. Yes, the basket gardeners, they have taken over our garden, and they make sure that we have fresh fruits and vegetables for this pantry. Unfortunately, it's small enough that it only serves 1 pantry. The idea is also to teach people how to grow their own vegetables whenever possible. possible. So some people are more interested than others.
Yeah. So you have organic, locally grown food available right here for
Right
distribution.
here.
Great.
Yes. I just came in with the food that they have picked up from the grocery store.
So remember, we say they recover food. These have come in from a grocery store. It might be H-E-B, might be Walmart. I don't know. These trucks, by the way, funded by grants written by CC students. But the food comes in and on pallets, and it's taken into the warehouse. So let's see what happens. So Pepsi and 7-Up projects.
Yes.
So snacks and things like that. And this is our fine staff. Okay. Okay. And this is the warehouse proper here. Okay.
You should know. How are you?
How are you?
You should know the schedule by now. Thank you.
How you doing? Okay. And
Let me open the freezer
it's okay.
if I can.
Okay. All right. And we'll just pop our head in. It's cold. But here they keep.
This is an example of what comes from every day from the grocery stores. And as you can see, this is very good food. It's fresh food that they can't sell anymore, but that we can certainly use for our children.
Yeah, and this room is full of food, produce and vegetables. And one of the things it's important to note that the food bank, I mean, you can give people a bag of chips and a Coke and they'll be fed. But all kinds of bad things happen because of that. So they try to include healthy food. They try to teach people about nutrition and avoid a lot of the problems that bad nutrition causes. Stay healthy. Diabetes, heart disease, things like that. Real issue in the coastal bend. And in a very real sense, the food bank is feeding people but trying to improve the quality of life through food as well. So.
There's a freezer in there, but I'm not going to open it.
Okay. And as you can see, there are food everywhere, obviously. It's a warehouse, but these are...
This is USDA food.
It's food from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
And
And
what happens is that they, when there's an abundance of certain, like dried cherries right there, there's an abundance of cherries, and if the farmers take it all to market, the price of cherries is going to drop. And if it drops too low, then they don't recuperate whatever they put into growing the cherries. So the Department of Agriculture buys these crops and sends it to be packaged to different manufacturers. Could be Del Monte or could be whoever does dried cherries, and then sends it out to the food banks in the nation.
okay, great.
For distribution.
Great. And again, as you can see, there's just row and row and row of all kinds of good food. I will note, it's on the website, but there is the mission statement of the Food Bank of Corpus Christi. Reduces hunger in South Texas through food distribution, nutrition, and education. It's a good thing to know if you're a grant writer. And how many people do you employ, B?
42 people.
42 employees. Good number to know.
What they're doing here is where they are inspecting perishables. And unfortunately, we have to throw away quite a bit of food, and it's one of our big expenses. But we have to make sure that the food is safe to eat. So that's why we get a lot of volunteers that come here and help us inspect the boxes.
Yeah, so the food comes in on the trucks, as we just saw, from various sources. These fine folks, most of whom are volunteers and just doing it out of the kindness of their heart, inspect it, make sure it's safely. So once it's inspected, the food's good, what happens from there?
Okay, then they put it in the freezer, and this will be out of here by tomorrow, because any perishable, we have to shorten the time that we keep it here. So this will be in somebody's table tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's really important. Food doesn't spend a lot of time in the food bank. It comes here, they check it, make sure it's safe, and then it goes back out right often the next day. So.
Yes. Sometimes the same day we can do that. In fact, we are training our agencies that are in the periphery, let's say Alice, Texas, Robstown, to go directly to HEB, pick up the perishables, inspect them themselves, and distribute that same day.
Great.
That way it saves a day that we bring it here, inspect it, and then take it back.
Great. All right, thanks. Introduce yourself, please.
Amado Aguilar.
Okay.
And I wanted to kind of give you a little update of the backpack program. The backpack program has changed a little bit over this past year nationwide, from going from snack items that were just bars of this and bars of the other, that kids were taking home for the weekend. And a lot of the times, it was very limited for the quantity of food that was available to them. There was some snacks, and sometimes they would even eat them on the way home. So for the weekend, they wouldn't have anything. So Feeding America started talking about, well, what can we do to ensure that that children have food over the weekend? So we were one of the pilot food banks that said, okay, how can we change the program? So what we did is we actually took a look at the cost of that particular item we were getting was getting prohibitive. It was getting higher and higher and higher because they were being produced out of state. We had to transport it in here, so we had to pay all that extra administrative stuff. So we said, okay, can we create backpacks inside our own four walls and offer a little bit more food for the family that the family can share over the weekend? And so we started looking at different items and what can we do with the product. We're fortunate that we have volunteers that can work the product for us. We get USDA product. We get product from donors that is actually in very, very, very good date, and that we can offer to the kids and to their families at a very, very reduced cost. We do charge an administrative fee for putting the backpacks together, which went down from about almost $5 to $3 a pack. And so what you see here is an example of what the backpacks look like now. And what we put in the backpacks, what we put in the backpacks is we put some cereal, first of all. A box that's big enough to actually provide meals for almost the whole weekend. We also put shelf-ready milk, 2 containers of shelf-ready milk, as you see there, that kids can actually make their cereal from. Then we also have a jar of 18-ounce peanut butter, which is something very nutritious and a lot of protein that the only thing we're lacking is the bread. Hopefully there's bread out there.
The bread,
in order to make sandwiches. So 18 ounces every week really provides really enough protein for the weekend. We also offer a fruit item, a canned fruit item. Could be mixed fruit, peaches, pears, whatever's available to us. We put a fruit item there. We put a vegetable item, green beans, peas, corn, that actually can be used as an addition to a meal they have. We have a box of mac and cheese that is very easy to prepare. You throw it in the microwave, we put it inside a pot, and it's ready to do. And then we do have the item that everybody eats. Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles, how we grew up
ramen noodles. When we were in college, we couldn't afford anything else, so we all ate ramen. We do put 2 packages of ramen, which are very easy to make. So this changes the concept of a backpack program from being a snack to being actually food that the families can have over the weekend.
Great.
I'm Kathy Rios, and my title is Agency Relations Manager, and the backpack program is under my umbrella. And so we provide food for the weekend for children that are predominantly food insecure in our county and in the 11 counties surrounding our food bank. It's all of our service area. This food will help. Well, these children are identified by the schools. Most of them are on free or reduced lunch and breakfast. And so the idea is, what do they do during the weekend? How do they feed themselves? So we have some backpacks that we call them a backpack because it's the amount of food that fits inside a backpack, not really a full backpack. It's a discretionary thing, so that children are never singled out. So the school, someone in the school is my contact, a counselor, a PTA president, someone like that, a CIS representative, and they take care of distributing the backpacks every Friday. And so they go home with enough food, about 6-8 meals of food for the weekend.
Great.
So that's how it works. And right now we work real closely with communities and schools. They have about 18 sites. They do grant monies. We do grant monies, and we combine our grant monies so that we can do all 18 sites for an entire 35-week or 9-month school year. So then every summer we're scrambling again to put those monies together so we can continue to do that. They choose the sites, which is wonderful. They know where the need is. And so we've partnered with them for a number of years now. Then all the other funding we have to come up with ourselves. And that's where B. Hansen comes in.
Or the university.
Because we have to have that grant money. Backpacks aren't free. And we would love to feed every single child on every campus, but it's a funding issue.
Okay, great. B has asked us to apply for $25,000. And the question I ask, and I may be phrasing it poorly, is what impact would that $25,000 have? Would it be measured by number of children fed, additional sites, number of meals distributed? You said number of children fed, but in terms of if I were to make it sort of a budget for this grant, where would that $25,000 go? How would I explain that to a funder?
First, we would have to identify the children. But the backpacks in general, we make our own, and so they're about $3 a piece. You can kind of figure it out by the 35-week, because you don't want to start something in September and have to cut it off in December. If you're going to start the beginning of a school year, you want to go all the way through May.
Right.
Because at least then you fed the children the entire school year.
Absolutely.
So you figure about 35 weeks. That's about 35 Fridays at 3 cents a piece. $3 a piece. And then as you identify the children, each campus is going to be a little different. A Title I school, all the children qualify. So there are some Title I schools where we can feed the entire campus, which would be phenomenal. We're just starting at Zavala Elementary. We were able to get a little bit of grant money and went to them, talked to the principal, and he said, oh my gosh, that is just going to be fantastic. They're Title I. We're going to feed about 600 additional children from now till May.
Wow.
With another grant. So you just have to identify the number of children that qualify.
Okay,
and
great.
If they're on free or reduced lunch, they qualify.
Okay,
If they're
terrific.
Title I, they all qualify.
Great. Okay.
In other words, we divide $25,000
By $3, by
and
$3
then we'll know
per.
how many kids will.
That'll be the impact. Great.
Yes.
And so there's clearly the demand for that many many backpacks.
Oh, there is. And
Sure.
I've got people, well, we had 2 on the waiting list until this grant money came in. It was Zavala and Orange Grove. They were partners with us for a while, but they ran out of funding. We ran out of funding.
Yeah.
And so we had to wait till we
Till you had the money in
accumulated some
place.
funding. So Orange Grove, all 4 campuses will be fed now till May, and Zavala as well.
Wonderful.
Yay!
Okay.
Excited.
All right. Well,
Very
it's nice to see you.
Bye-bye, guys,
Bye-bye.
and thank you so much for what you're doing. Yeah, what you do is going to make a great difference. Thank you.
Great.
Thoughts in the Lamborghini as I drive back to campus. I'm really proud of TAM-UCC and the work it's done in the community and the way our grant writing students have helped. You saw a lot of the things the TAM-UCC students have been able to do, and I won't do an exhaustive list, but other things they have done include programming for fitness initiatives for kids who are at risk for diabetes. They did a big backpack program in 2013, which had a nationwide reach. The grant program did as well. Little things for equipment like pallet jacks in the warehouse And one of those room-sized refrigeration units was the very first student-written grant that TAMUCC did for the food bank. Since I've been here, 2004, TAMUCC faculty, students, and staff have written grants for the food bank that total over $500,000. I think that's pretty impressive. I'm pretty proud of that.